What's going on, everybody? This is Jacob Shoup. You're watching the Tom O'Brien Show, and boy, oh boy, we're off today. Man, that's a nice bar down. Looks like it might be trying to head to those lows of about 550 in the SPY. And hey, it kind of makes sense because I'm not sure things are necessarily improving. So we'll talk about all that. The first thing I do want to talk about, of course, is we did have Larry live trading today. That was a fantastic time. Man, some pretty good picks, that's for sure. Essentially, if you're not familiar, what that is there is a room in our trading channel, in our trading room, excuse me. There's a private little room within it. It's like a nesting doll of rooms almost. And at the core of that nesting doll is Live Trading Fridays with Larry. And essentially, you sit there, he is trading, he's sharing his charts, he's talking with everyone, he can ask questions, he responds, and really, a day like today was fantastic for that. And honestly, I'm gonna argue that we're gonna have a lot of those this year. You know, one of the things that I find difficult in my trading journey is trading, you know, some kind of chop. Now, luckily today, it was a nice movement to the downside, but, you know, Larry does a great job managing that, and I learn a lot each time I watch him. And so if you are interested, you can go to TFNN.com. Right on that front page is Live Trading Fridays with Larry Pesavento. Let's take a look. What do we have next week? We have the 11th and the 25th are those trading days. That's from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern time. Go ahead and check it out because it is worth it. All right, let's take a look. We got the SPY trading off about 1.85%. We were down as low as about 2% right now, hitting that low of 555.22. Man, you started at 566 in the morning, and just a steady sell off. Those PCE numbers were very tough. Take a look at the composite, off about 2.53% at 17,352. And you get the Dow Jones Industrial trading off about 1.58% at 41,631. In the Russell, also taking it pretty low there, off about 2.04% at 2,038. Now, the gold contract is doing phenomenally well today, up 0.72%, making new all-time highs again. Unfortunately, some of the mining equities were getting hit today, you know, which is just kind of a shame, but that's all right. It happens when people are just afraid of being in equities, right? So, I mean, this gold is being purchased, and, you know, we're talking in the den, you know, there's no end of the month buying. And it's like, listen, you know, we still got, what, 50 minutes left. So they can always just rally this thing into the end. But what I would argue, that's probably not going to be the case. And why are you seeing gold move up when everything else is? Because people don't want to be in equities. The PCE being, you know, elevated is pretty intense. We'll pull out these numbers here in a second. Looking at a change from a month ago, at least on the BEA, you had a 2.5% increase. You know, you have a downward revision this quarter in GDP growth to, I think, about 1.2%. This gets into sketchy stagflationary environments. That's not stagflation, of course. It's still growth, but it's contracting growth, right? And of course, there is still value in equities, and there is a chance that you're getting some kind of oversell, right? But I don't know if that persists, right? You still have a ton of uncertainty in the market with these tariffs. Of course, you had CoreWeave blow up today, which was not good for the data center equities whatsoever. There is an equity we'll take a look at that I do think is oversold on this news and has decent prospects. It is a growth company, and its last year revenues increased substantially, and they're trading, the revenues are just about under current market cap, which is interesting for sure. They're partnered with Dell. So you have the gold contract trading up 0.73%, and this is just a way to hedge that unpredictability. You know, and then it's like April 2nd, we're supposed to get these tariffs in here. I'm not sure that President Trump anticipated so many countries kind of combating this, right? I mean, you have the new Prime Minister of Canada came up and said today that essentially our relationship with America is just, or at least the one they had prior to all this, is essentially over, right? You have far less travel from Canada into the U.S., off about 70% based on some reports. And so this is a tough area. And so what I will say that is kind of a silver lining here is you are seeing the 10-year rate come down just a little bit. We'll take a look at that just real quick. I believe it's at 4.23%. Give me a second. So yeah, the yield's trading 4.26% right now. So that is nice. And I think what that's indicating is this is starting to show relatively some weak conditions, right? You are getting consumer spending coming down, which I think is exactly why you're seeing Amazon sell off to the way that it kind of is. You have ride sharing going down, which is why you're seeing Uber kind of go down a little bit there. Of course, you have Coca-Cola to the downside. Oh, this is the wrong, okay. Yeah, sorry, that's on my private one. We'll take a look at Coca-Cola. That's off 0.59% today. Basically on the news that RFK might prevent people from buying soda who use food stamps. So, you know, there's a lot of things to be a little bit spooked about. And I mean, you're looking at Hood as well, which I am smitten with Hood's banking idea, Robinhood, right? 4% APY on the savings. Of course, the way that they see it is they're trying to get people essentially to be more loyal on their app, right? And you can integrate your finances. They're doing trusts, which is pretty intense. You have tax professionals that will work with Robinhood. You can ask them questions. And of course, what a lot of people are locking onto, which makes sense because it's one of the more bizarre things that I've heard recently, is that they're going to start door dashing. I say door dash just as in like the action. They're going to start door dashing cash. And again, I want to say it's not clear whether or not DoorDash will be involved in that. They're going to start delivering cash to people as opposed to going out to ATMs. So from an individual who is interested just in general security, whether that's cybersecurity or physical or whatever it might be, that is super interesting. And we'll wait to see what happens. I'm not sure how many people will necessarily use that, but the banking is extraordinarily interesting. But you get Robinhood going down. Listen, if people are spending less money going out and eating and on ride sharing, etc., why are they going to be buying equities? And I'm not saying that's necessarily the right way to look at it, but I believe that's probably the sentiment that's going on here. So folks, stay right there. We'll be right back.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques,